My name is Tony Van Veen, CEO of Discmakers. Today, I want to tell you a story of an album that just hit the #1 on the Billboard Albums chart a whole year after it was released. I read about it a couple days ago and I thought, that's interesting, and it reinforced something that I've been mentioning repeatedly over the past year or two, that album release cycles have changed drastically in the streaming era. No longer do you just drop a new album, do 6 weeks of promotion and touring, and then hope for the best. That's how it used to be when all we were doing was selling CDs and selling downloads. Today, it's all about racking up streams. That means that while promotion right around your release date is still essential to kickstart your album's momentum, it can actually take much longer for an album to pick up steam. One reason for that is that today, every play is tallied, as opposed to the purchase of a disc. If I bought a disc and I listened to it twice or 200 times, it's still counted as just one sale to the good people at Billboard who track this stuff. But if I listen to a streaming album twice versus 200 times, the difference is huge to the folks tallying up the charts. It just takes time to listen to an album 200 times, or 50 times for that matter. So it takes longer for many albums to start charting. Another reason why it can take longer to chart is that promotional activities or playlist placements that happen after the release can have a big impact. I told you a long time ago about Perrin Lamb, a CD Baby client, who more than a year after his album was released got a song placed on a huge Spotify playlist and ended up getting more than 10 million streams on Spotify, which earned him around $60,000 in royalties for just that one song. Again, more than a year after it had been released. So now there's this Australian rapper called The Kid Laroi. He dropped his latest album over a year ago, except he called it a playlist, but really it was an album. And what he did that was different was that he kept adding songs to the playlist over time and reissuing his playlist, i.e. reissuing his album with more songs. Every time, all the streams of the new tracks were added to the existing streams that had already happened on the album. And the numbers just kept growing and growing and growing until right now. A year after release, it has gotten so big that it landed him the #1 spot on the Billboard Albums chart. So, what's my point here? Should you keep adding tracks to your album? Should you pitch yourself to big playlists? No, not really. Though, you may want to try it. It doesn't hurt to experiment with those kind of things. My point here is to not just think about the promotion as something that you do at the time your album is released. I mean, that is the most important time to do your promotion, but the point is that you shouldn't despair if your album hasn't yet gotten significant plays 90 days after release. The point is that in this day and age, you need to keep working your album and some of the tracks on it for the long haul, over the long haul. Your success in the streaming era gets counted not with one-time upfront sales like in the physical time, but stream by stream, and it takes time to generate those streams. And your royalties also trickle in over time so long as those streams keep happening. And therefore, you need to keep working that album at least until the next album is ready to go. Again, one of the differences between the streaming era and the physical era was if your album stopped selling during the physical era, at some point in time the retailers would take it off the shelves because shelf space was limited and they would put a new album in. With streaming, your album is always instantly available. And so there's much more opportunity over time to keep promoting, and maybe lightning will strike. Let me tell you an interesting aside. As you probably heard, because I've talked about it a bunch, we recently introduced Ads for Artists. Basically an affordable ad agency that makes it easy for an artist to advertise your song or your album on Facebook and Instagram and on a number of big music websites like Pitchfork and Billboard and Rolling Stone. And by the way, if you're interested in learning more, just go to discmakers.com/ads. But the thing that is most interesting to me as artists have started to try it out, is that many of the artists who've tried it, I think more than half, had released their album a year ago. And only now are they starting to pay to advertise it. Why? I don't really know. Maybe it took them a while to get their budget together. But the good news is, in today's streaming world, as I mentioned before, it doesn't really matter when you start promoting. Yes, it's better at the time that your album is released. But if that doesn't work for you, at any time, if your album is still current, you can start promoting it. You always have an opportunity to start driving extra streams, extra sales, extra royalties, regardless of when your album came out. I mean, heck, I did a tiny test personally, and I personally spent $200 promoting a song that I had released way back in 1995. And that old song got over 35,000 impressions and 14,000 engagements. Basically, a stream, a click, a like, a share, or a comment. Not bad, right, for a 25-year-old song. So don't give up hope if your album sales haven't lived up to expectations yet. With a bit of creativity, marketing and promotion can be very effective over the long haul, even if you have a very modest budget, and sometimes even if you have no budget. If you just keep working it, you have a shot that something can happen in the future. I hope you found this helpful. I look forward to seeing you next time.